Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, January 27. The Ministry of Education is carrying out contact tracing, deep sanitization, and psychosocial support for 8 schools under its face-to-face pilot. The activities come as the 8 schools, spread across 4 regions, have suspected or confirmed COVID-19 cases since the start of the new school term earlier this month. In Parliament Tuesday, Minister Favour Williams said some of the affected schools would resume in-person classes on February 1. In Region 1, which consists of Kingston and St. Andrew, Donald Quarry and Penwood High schools have confirmed cases.
In Region 5, which is Manchester and St. Elizabeth, that region reported 4 cases, 1 for Sydney Pagan, 1 for Fuller's Wood Primary and Infant School, and 2 parent cases from Monroe College.
Sydney Pagan High School is scheduled to reopen on February 1, while Fuller's Wood reopened on January 20 following deep sanitization. Day students at Monroe and Hampton are required to quarantine for 14 days before re-engaging in face-to-face activities. Over in Region 2, which covers St. Thomas, St. Mary, and Portland, St. Mary High School has delayed reopening following a senior staff member testing positive for COVID-19. Within Region 7, Vere Technical and Kemps Hill High Schools are to reopen on February 1. A member of staff tested positive for the coronavirus at Vere Technical, while there's been an increase in COVID-19 cases in and around Kemps Hill. As of January 25, 292 schools have been approved for in-person teaching and learning. In the meantime, the Education Ministry says it has not asked parents to sign waivers indemnifying schools in the event their child or ward contracts COVID-19 during face-to-face classes. This follows media reports that some of the 292 schools that have been cleared for the in-person classes were asking parents to sign waiver forms. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams says the ministry does not sanction this action.
I want to reiterate that the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information has issued no such directive nor endorsed any proposal for schools to issue letters of indemnity waivers to parents. This is precisely why we do not approve schools for face-to-face without them satisfying the COVID-19 compliance standards of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and evaluated as being low risk using our risk ranking database guided by geoinformatics and demographic data.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says deliberation by the Cabinet on Monday has led to the revision of COVID-19 measures for public transportation and the hosting of funerals. Effective February 1, churches will again be allowed to host funerals with no more than 15 persons, 10 being family members and 5 of the clergy. While speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Mr. Holness said this would be in place for 1 month, during which activities would be closely monitored for compliance and consideration for extension.
We are not allowing mass open-ended funerals, regardless of how large the church is. It is the same rule that is applied at the graveside would be the same rule that is applied in the church.
In the meantime, approval has been given for public transportation to carry limited standing passengers based on the seating capacity of the buses. The ratio will be 1 standing passenger for every 5 seats.
As the economy moves back to full capacity, which is the intention of the government to, in a very well and carefully thought out and orchestrated way, move the economy back to full capacity. You can't do so without providing transport capacity as well.
The Prime Minister says the Police and Transport Authority will be notified of this approved measure. However, he says currently it is not safe to return to full seating for taxi operators, and so the existing rule remains in place for them to carry 1 less passenger than permitted on their license. Government will be providing 250 additional beds to homeless shelters in the Kingston metropolitan area. The commitment follows Monday's fatal attack on 4 homeless persons and the injuring of 2 in downtown Kingston.
We are now going to provide an additional 100 beds at the Mary Atkins shelter, and at the King Street location by the end of February, work should commence on another 150 beds.
In Parliament Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the state would spare no effort in investigating the heinous and barbaric murders of the men who are among the society's most vulnerable.
The police are now pulling out all the stops to investigate the murders. They have one suspect in custody. The commissioner has told me that he is increasing the patrols in the areas where there are no homeless people to stay. The Ministry of Local Government is doing the same, and we are also increasing the facilities for our homeless.
And finally, despite a reduction in the incidence of child abuse, the Ministry of Education is calling for greater social protection and collaboration to protect children. The National Children's Registry indicates a monthly average of 780 reported cases of child abuse for 2020, compared to the monthly average of 1,145 in 2019. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams says there is still more to be done, especially following increased violence against children in recent weeks, coupled with the effects of the current pandemic.
We call on all Jamaicans to unite together for our children. It is time for action until we have come to this realization that violence against our children and the abuse of our children cannot be fixed by any one grouping. These negative trends will continue. Remember, I call on all Jamaicans to remember our children are our best asset.
The minister, who was speaking at the sitting of Parliament recently, says the CPFSA, through the Children and Family Support Unit and Field Services Team, will continue to provide the necessary intervention. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.